A judge's ruling has cleared the way for Bruce's Beach, a one-time black-owned beach property to the return. It's going to be returned to the family's descendants. Now, last week, an LA Superior Court ruled against attorney Joseph Ryan, who is representing himself. Now, Ryan, he fought to stop the transfer of the property to the Bruce family. He filed his petition a few months after California Governor Gavin Newsom approved a state law last year that would allow LA County to transfer the property to the Bruce family. He argued that the property would be a gift to the family, which is illegal under state law. Now, the court disagreed with his argument. And in 1912, Willa and Charles Bruce, they purchased two oceanfront lots in Manhattan Beach. By the 1920s, the city of Manhattan Beach moved to seize the properties to build a park. The Bruces were forced to sell their property along with a handful of other black landowners. Oh, I was so happy about this story. We've been following this for a very long time, Romeo, you know, here on Fox Soul's Black Report. And I was so happy, of course, we live in California, and to just know that there's a black beach here in California was great. And I also was happy, Governor Gavin Newsom, you know, he was under fire for a very long time, and they were trying to get him out of there. And so he also needed to do something really good and really powerful for the black community. So he made this and pushed it all the way through. So I was really happy to see Governor Gavin Newsom be one of the spearheads behind this all.
Yeah, I agree. And you think about it, hearing about the story from the beginning, first of all, it was like a history lesson for me because I did not know the history of it. And then we were like, it would be a far-fetched if this could actually happen, if they could get ownership back. Their families deserve that after all these years. And we're talking about, what, 100 years later? And it happened. So this shows us and gives us hope moving forward when we talk about reparations and things of that nature, that maybe things can come to fruition. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah, this is a really good news. This is really great, you know, but for me, it's a very, it just goes to show what has happened to us in generations past. Because this is probably just one example of many where black people have had their land stolen from unjust laws, unjust property laws. So I'm so happy that this family gets to have their property back. And I hope that this will prompt other people to continue to fight for their own property. In fact, there's a research study that was done that has shown that the black generational wealth would be in the trillions had we not had all of our property stolen from us over the years.
I just want to add really quick, because they were trying to say that this was a gift. And so we talk about reparations a lot. Giving us what we deserve back and what was rightfully ours is not a gift. It is what we deserve. I just want to clear that
what
up.
we own.
Absolutely.
All right, a Texas National Guard member who drowned trying to save two migrants while crossing the Rio Grande into the U.S. was not wearing a life jacket. Specialist Bishop Evans' body was found earlier this week. Evans joined the National Guard back in 2019 and has deployed to both Kuwait and Iraq. Despite all that, his family is not eligible for death benefits because he died while deployed on Operation Lone Star, which is not a federal deployment. Now, legislation tried to close that gap and has submitted it twice by a state representative, but the bills failed to reach the governor's desk. The migrants Evans jumped in to save, they did survive. They're accused of being involved in drug trafficking and are in Border Patrol custody.
And former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg is donating $200 million to New York charter schools. Harlem's Children's Zone and Success Academy will split the $200 million evenly. School officials say they will use the money for building improvements, new teachers, scholarship programs, and things like that. Bloomberg has been outspoken about the effects of the pandemic has had on students who come from poor neighborhoods in New York. Bloomberg's donation is part of his $750 million investment in public charter schools around the nation.
The founder of Philadelphia's Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium has been appointed regional director of the United States Department of Health and Human Services. So President Biden, he appointed Dr. Ala Stanford, a part of his administration's continued efforts to rebuild communities impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Dr. Stanford received national recognition in April 2020 when she founded the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium, which focuses on testing and vaccinating Philadelphia's residents against the virus. The appointment comes 6 months after Stanford withdrew her name from consideration to be Philadelphia's next health commissioner. The White House says Stanford's new position is consistent with the president's commitment to building an administration that represents the diversity of America and the communities that they serve.
One of the country's oldest and most acclaimed literary magazines has appointed its first black editor. Poetry Magazine has hired Adrian Matika. The Poetry Foundation, a Chicago-based organization that oversees poetry, made the announcement Tuesday. The foundation was established in 2003 after Ruth Lilly, heir to the Eli Lilly Pharmaceutical Foundation, donated $100 million to the magazine. Poetry was founded in 1912 and has published several leading poets of our time.
And the first black-owned bank in Minnesota is open for business. First Independence Bank opened yesterday. The historic move for the bank, which is venturing outside of the Detroit, Michigan area for the first time in 50 years. Minnesota has some of the widest income gaps in the country and a history of discriminatory loan practices that have impaired black wealth. Now, the bank is hoping to change that. They say they are committed to addressing social and economic inequalities.
A longtime music executive has been named new senior vice president of Capital Christian Music Group. Phil Thornton is tasked with signing new talent and developing label, media, and touring partnerships on behalf of Capital artists. Thornton brings extensive experience to his new position. He signed a deal with Mariah Carey to create the track Fall in Love at Christmas. He's also worked with gospel superstar Kirk Franklin and pop hit maker Khalid Thornton, and says he can't wait to get started in his new role.
Sneakers are a big business, and thanks to a former pro athlete, they're now an investment tool. Jerome Sapp created an app where sneakerheads can move beyond just buying collectibles. They can now make money from their obsession. In 2021, Sotheby's auction household they sold Kanye's Nike Air Yeezy 1 prototype for $1.8 million, making them the most expensive sneakers ever sold at an auction so far. The sneakers were acquired by Rare, a company owned by Sapp. The platform allows users to invest in fractional shares of valuable sneakers. In the case of the Yeezy sneakers, they split that one pair into 72,000 shares at $25 a share, giving investors a chance to own a piece of history for a low price. Snap says Rare makes it easy for people to get into investing for lower amounts.
And Macy's is celebrating black creatives with the return of Icons of Style. It's a collaboration of black visionaries hoping to move the fashion world forward. 7 black designers will create limited edition seasonal collections throughout 2022, aimed at inspiring customers to embrace their personal style. Through Macy's Mission Everyone social platform, the company says it will continue to amplify black brands and introduce more diverse talent in its assortment. Icons of Style will feature 3 seasonal must-have collections, with capsules launching in July and in October.
And hundreds of thousands of people made their own pieces of artwork during the summer of 2020 during the Black Lives Matter protests. And now, thanks to the help of activists and archivists, those pieces are now being displayed in a new exhibit on the Library of Congress website. So activists, they worked together to collect the pieces, and they say not only were they dedicated and preserving that art that is so very important, they also enforced the significance of why it was there. At one point, counter protesters tried to rip down those signs, but activists, they say that they took turns monitoring the fence to make sure those pieces were not damaged. There were also reports that says Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., is interested in preserving the pieces as artifacts. And this is magnificent to just have one word. So I'm really happy that the Library of Congress, so more than 30 pieces of artwork are now going to be available online. And so, you know, they originally tried to take that fence down. That's the fence that was circling the White House. That fence right there, actually. And so to know that a sign that you thought was just going to be, because I remember when I was going to go to a protest in Los Angeles, me and my friends, we got boards and we got markers and everything. And to know that something that seems so small, right? That's like my sign is just like my own. That could literally be marked now as a piece of work in the Library of Congress that has to feel so good to those artists.
Absolutely, Demi. And you know what? When we look back in history, the summer of 2020 is going to be in history books. And so to be able to see the art, because it is art, you know, you thought you may be at home making a poster, but it is now art. It will now go down in history when people 30, 50 years from now are thinking about, you know, the protests and what we did and how we marched and all that. It will be there. And I love that.
From the civil rights movement all the way up to the Black Lives Matter, all that is a part of history and it should be preserved, definitely. Black and Latino students from low-income backgrounds are being denied access to AP STEM opportunities. That's according to a new report from Education Trust and Equity Opportunity Schools. It found that nearly 225,000 Black and Latino students are missing from AP courses that they should have access to while in high school. According to Pew Research, Black people represent 11% of the workplace, but only 8% of those are in STEM jobs. Jobs in STEM fields often come with higher paying salaries that over time could close the racial wealth gap.
And a Florida high school senior has been accepted to more than 70 colleges. Jalila Thornton says she started submitting applications last year. She says she wanted to see how many she could get into, so she ultimately ended up applying to more than 90 schools and got accepted into 72. She credits the Common Black College application and the Common app for helping her submit applications to several colleges at once. Thornton says she plans to attend Xavier University in Louisiana and major in pre-med with a minor in chemistry.